Saturday, 21st of December, 2024 at 5:19 p.m. here on Harskin Island, Washington, United States of America. Welcome once again to our cosmic journey. It is the Dev and Design podcast highlighting how two gentle-folk created the world's best astrology software. I am Gentlefolk Jake. He is Gentlefolk Trey. Hello, Trey.
Hello, Jake.
Let's,
of course.
Why
are we gentlefolk?
We are gentlefolk. We're going to the live. Did I get the times right? You'd be the judge. I can't see it. Did we elect for a good podcast time? You be the judge. How are you?
Go back to it for just a second. If you look over there on the right-hand side where the sun is just entered Capricorn. It's not even at 1 degree yet, so it's
happy solstice.
Capricorn, which means it's the solstice.
Yes.
The longest night of the year just happened.
We had a lovely time with our friends and family doing a little bit of a kind of solstice celebration. I had a lovely time doing it. It was my first time ever doing it. And Trey was so kind as to put it all together. And it was, in my estimation, great. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I really appreciated that. It seems like most of the folks that were involved got something out of it, so that's always the goal.
Treated it with the dignity and solemnity that it deserved. Difficult word to say, by the way, solemnity. The cycle this time is called You'll Float 2. This will be the second cycle that we have made a reference to it. So, go back and take a look at that episode to see the last one. I believe it was called Tags, You're It, was that one. I don't know what episode that was. You want to take a guess? Actually, let's go back to this. What episode, without looking it up, what episode do you think Tags Your It was?
28. No,
I was going to say 22. I was going to say 22. We'll find out at the end of the episode who is right. So 22, 28. So it's my checking question today. We're going to show a little bit of the Cosmic Console styling. I don't know why my mouse is on the screen because I'm moving it around. But you know what? It's this weird mouse that's hanging out there. Who knows why? And Trey is going to talk about the pain and delight of floating point math and fixing floating point math. But of course, before we get to that, we of course must get to the check-in question. And it's mine. What is a thing that you've done to support your community? Because what we've done is had a little bit of a community event here that we alluded to here at the beginning. And I'm just wondering from you, Mr. Henry, what you've done to support your community.
Yeah, I think, definitely putting together the Yule sort of event, solstice event, I think falls into that category. Certainly like close friends and family, and what I would consider to be my close community. So yeah, that was really fun, and that was cool to do. I'm trying to think of something more on the developer side. I haven't really done, the most recent thing that I've done was to put together an Elixir Phoenix package for Astro Envim, for the Astro Envim community. So it's like a code editor. And I put up just a nice package that gives you kind of like all of the stuff out of the box so that it works correctly when you're developing on Elixir and Phoenix. That's a couple of little things. What about you?
Like those.
What have you done to support your community?
A patron came in. They were being helped by another librarian, but they were having a hard time printing. And the other librarian, I'm kind of the technology librarian. So when the other librarians, need some technology help and I'm volunteering, they will come and get me. And so I saw that the other librarian was struggling with this patron. So I decided let's go, talk to this patron. I will say that the patron was, they seemed insecurely housed. I will say that. So that's the way, just from an outward appearance and from kind of what their demeanor was, they were having some real struggles. A lot of patience struggles as well. They just were getting more and more agitated and upset. And also, I was noticing that they may have had some kind of neurological condition because they were very shaky. So they're standing there hovering at the printer. And so the first thing that I do is I say hey, let's just take a seat. It's okay. Let's have a seat. We can relax. And the first thing I do is I introduce myself. So I'm Jake. What's your name? They say their name. And, I ask them, like, how's their day going? Are they staying dry? Because it's obviously very wet outside here in the Pacific Northwest.
Rainy.
Super rainy. And they don't seem like they might have stable housing. So, like that, it's a real concern. I offered my hand to shake their hand. They shook my hand as well. And then we did this normal things of how you print to the library, which is you have to connect this thing to that thing, and then you have to go over here and scan this thing in order to do this. It's always a little bit of a process. And there's one part of the process where if you email the document, it takes a little bit of time before the printer gets it, and you get an email back saying that it comes. And during this time, I always like making small talk and then turning small talk into bigger talk if someone wants to have bigger talk with people. And so I started asking them around, like, well, what are your favorite places to go here in Shelton? I was in the town of Shelton. And how have you, how's your holiday been? And are you celebrating with anyone? And, the patrons telling me a little bit about their lives, waiting for this to happen, like I'm watching their phone, and all of a sudden the email comes in. Patron notices the email. I said, okay, it's there. Let's go print it. One other little problem happened, and then I went to the desk and fixed it. Okay, all good. Fine. The patron ended up writing, okay, now I'm not going to share the patron's, there's personal information in there because that was privately shared. So I'm not going to share the screen with that, but I will read something that the patron did say, because it was then sent out to the entire staff. And then somebody else at the library, who is the security manager, saw it. And then they, of course, sent me something aside from this, because they witnessed this whole thing happening as well. And they said, the patron says a little bit about like what they appreciate about the library. And then says, today I witnessed Jake and Shelton offer the best customer service I have ever seen in any service sector ever. And it was with a vulnerable adult. And I'm like, okay, so let's just go back to me for a second, because I got one up with you. Just you and me, viewer. I used to work at HelloFresh, and the leadership principles at HelloFresh were not necessarily around service mindset, service orientedness, nor was it around kind of servant leadership. It was really, like, in a lot of ways, aggressive and hard charging. And I was super worried when I started volunteering at the library that those habits that I picked up at HelloFresh were going to spill over into my library work. But as it turns out, I'm doing the best customer service that anyone's ever seen ever. Okay, great. Good to know. So that's how I support our community.
Yeah, that's great. That's very direct support. I love
very
that.
direct.
It's really the reason why you wanted to work at the library, is just to kind of like connect with people and to be able to like connect with the community, serve the community. That's really great. And we talked before, I think, about how like most librarians think that the librarian job is really like about books and, sort of like almost like an antiquarian sort of approach to like curating books and books on shelves, and and really these days it's like IT tech support. And particularly for people that like might not have access to other resources, or like where printing something is a big pain in the butt, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. And I was actually down at the beach with our dog right before filming this video. He then had to go into the shower because he was disgusting. I took no videos nor took any pictures, so you're not seeing that right now, which is great. But I did see a neighbor down there, and the neighbor said, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a long time. Like, you and Trey have been, like, we walk quite a bit, but like we were out of sync with her." And I said, "Yeah, actually one of the last times we saw you was at the library." She said, "Oh yeah, whenever I have to go there, I have to print. It's such a pain in the butt." And I was like, "Well, I volunteer there, and so if you need help printing." And then the other person she was with was like, You've got an in at the library, and it's like a printing. Like, they were so excited. They're like, "Oh, finally, somebody can help me by printing." Little did I know, printing is the thing.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do
delights
it
of
much these days, but you still have to do it sometimes. And when you do have to do it, it's like nobody's got a printer anymore. Go to your local library, because probably your local library has a very generous amount of printing you can do for free.
Even Seattle Public Library, which has not a generous budget to give you, does have a couple bucks for you per week, I think, to print. So if you need to go print, go print. We're here for you. The librarians are here for you. Mr. Henry, we have Cosmic Console styling and some floating point math. You're going to demonstrate both of these things. I might talk a little bit about the Cosmic Console, but yeah, let's go right to it if you don't mind. We're going to go to your screen and let's take a look.
Yeah, here we are.
Good check-in, everyone. Good check-in. Yeah, clap, clap, clap.
Yeah, good check-in. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a good one. Yeah, so, okay, just quickly to show, and also to give Jake credit for, because he's the one that implemented this, is that we have now styled the Cosmic Console. I thought we showed this last time, but we looked at the video and we didn't. Yep. So now it looks a little bit like a little bit more sort of in style with stuff. So this is the cast chart form, which you've seen as well.
Okay, can you do both of these? So I tried to do an animation here, and then we'll go back to the 2-up. I tried to do an animation on that, and when I did the animation, it looked super janky. And this is where I will put in the video of me showing the super janky animation.
Okay,
that's happening right now. So now Trey is showing me. So when you do, okay, so there's a glass effect. So if you do the Cosmic Console for a second. Sorry, let's go back to the Cosmic Console. Okay, see that glass effect where it's like kind of smoky in the background? Yeah. Great. Okay, now do you do reload the chart though. That's why this works. Because if you did not reload the chart in the background when that happens, I guarantee you that it would be strange when it animates in.
That shouldn't be it, but we could try a few things.
Okay.
That shouldn't be it. The only reason that it's actually doing that is because this /cast route is when that gets hit, we update the chart to just be here and now instead of just showing a blank screen in the background. So that's the only reason that happens. It's not actually reloading. Like if you look over here, it's not reloading the page. It's just the chart that's re-rendering. And because we do a little bit of a funky thing, you can see it right there where the chart's super small. I render it at 200 by 200, which is actually like the number of units in the SVG.
We may
and then I position it.
We may need to fix. We may need to do something with it.
We definitely do, and we have a bug open for that as
well. So not only the little chart to the big chart, but also like the whole We'll talk about it later. This happens sometimes where like we just start looking at this stuff, and I'm like, wait, that is a little bit weird. Okay. Anyways, back to your screen. I was in the 2-up for a second. There we go. So
another thing the glass effect is awesome. Another thing that I was just thinking about, we've been doing a lot of research as well, and we had a conversation with a practitioner, really, really
so good,
sweet person,
so
really
good.
Great, super pro in our community. It was really nice, and they pointed out that the colors, the styling of the application is very important to them because they do a lot of YouTubing. And so they really have an expectation of like high contrast, very simple, et cetera, et cetera. And so that really, and now when I'm looking at like us demoing in this, I can kind of see it. It's like, it's not popping enough. It's not like enough contrast.
Yeah.
And that's not, there's like a slightly different thing when you're like broadcasting versus when you're, when you're using an application just on your desktop, right? So we will have theming in there,
one day
support these different scenarios. But I just wanted to plus one what that person said.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we learned so much from them, and if they're watching this video, hey,
you know who you are.
You know who you are, and thank you so much for your energy and time. That was hugely, hugely important to me and Trey.
Yeah. And also, if you want us to credit you just let us know.
Yeah, comment below.
We just didn't clear it ahead of time, so.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to give away any information.
Yeah. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about before this episode gets too long in the tooth is floating point math. It's super jank. We might have talked about this at some point, like way in the past. I won't go into all of the like hairy details about why this sort of thing happens, but we had two bugs, which one of which was that, and if I think possibly in the last video, there might have been an example of this, where this
I think there was. I think we saw it in the video, actually.
Yeah. And there's bugs in Urania, which have never really been fixed, that are because of doing rounding out floating point math and then doing other math, which is a big no-no. Because if you round out a lot of the accuracy of the float before, and then you do a bunch of math, like you really want to do that right at the end, because then you don't have that accuracy when you're doing all the math. And this is one of the reasons why the ascendant sometimes is like a couple of degrees off from where you might normally find it in other software when using Uranian. So just something to keep in mind. People have filed bugs about it. So we fixed that here.
We're fixing it here.
Great. Yeah. But we still had these other subtle bugs where just like Jake said, the label was moving back and forth over the descendant here. And if you clicked on the descendant and we're looking at the details for it, and you moved around in time, you would sometimes see that it was in the 6th house, which of course no house system would allow that to be the case.
Yes.
And so we knew that there was probably some sort of floating point shenanigans. There was. I fixed those. Those are actually deployed now. This is the production chart. Anyway, so this is great. All of these little like mathy bugs got fixed, and we sort of like centralized how we handle the accuracy of those numbers. So it was kind of something I think we always sort of needed to do.
Yeah, good on you. Yay, clap, 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 clap. Last order of business, as promised. You had said that it was episode 28 that was the
I think.
Yeah, I mean...
But I think it's actually after that. But
you think it's after that? Now. I said 22. I know that. I think you said 28, but do you want to change your answer? Now, what is the last time that we made a reference to Stephen King's It?
Oh, to Stephen King's It.
Yeah, which is tags your it.
Oh, right. Okay, that's the title of it. I'll stick with 28. I don't know.
All right, stick with 28. I said 22. Yeah. It was 23 right there. Can you see it?
Yeah. Good job, buddy.
Thanks. And it has 22 views, or 22 Aufrufe. You know, that's how we would say it in German. So good competition, everyone. Good competition. Yeah.
Good job.
Why don't you ask me what the viewer should do on this beautiful weekend?
Yeah, what should the viewer do, Jake?
I think the viewer should respect and delight in the idea that we are in the darkest part of the year, and that if you were in the Northern Hemisphere, of course, and that you should rejoice and give thanks to the darkness. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere and you're watching the show, hey, first of all, give us a like and let us know down there, and then you give your delights to the most sun.
Yeah.
Excellent. So go out, enjoy the darkness, give thanks to the darkness, and have yourself a lovely weekend or whatever day you watch this video. Take care. We love you very much. We'll see you again very soon, and goodbye.
Bye.